The 2023 TC America powered by Skip Barber Racing School season opened yesterday with a thriller in Race 1 at Sonoma Raceway. 2022 TCX Championship runner-up Colin Garrett started his championship bid with a curtain-raising win, while Jeff Rica cruised to victory in the TC class and Devin Anderson fended off Spencer Bucknam and Xiaoyi Che to claim the top step of the TCA podium. Today, a field of hungry touring car drivers aim to knock Saturday's winners off their perch in this 40-minute dash to the checkers. Hello everyone, welcome to Sonoma Raceway. My name is Ryan Marine. Calvin Fish is alongside and Amanda Busick is pitside for us. It's a pleasure to have your company from a cool and blustery Sonoma Raceway. Race 2 of the weekend for the touring cars. TC America powered by the Skip Barber Racing School. Fun race yesterday, Calvin. Colin Garrett did win overall, but he's got to start P3 today, and he has to go through a very hungry Lucas Catania and the pole sitter Kyle Lowe.
Yeah, and great to see some diverse grid there in TCX with the Honda now joining the BMWs. They showed a lot of pace here yesterday, had the pole. Kyle Lowe had a really great run to a podium finish, and now he has the pole here today. Let's see what he can do with it.
Dai Yoshihara yesterday was a big story. He started on pole in his series debut. Unfortunately, though, dropped out of the race with what was a gearbox issue. That car was not able to be repaired, and so no Dai Yoshihara today. He had the fastest race lap, was set to start from pole position. Instead, Kyle Lowe inherits the pole. Meanwhile, in TC, it was a brand new car for Jeff Rica. You're looking at it right there, the Hyundai Elantra TC spec car. And it was very, very fast. He claimed pole position by 1.4 seconds, Calvin. That car is rapid.
It really is, and he showed similar pace in the race yesterday with a very extreme fast lap, so we'll start from the front here again. And this is the track they're going to be competing on. 12 turns, 2.5 miles. The elevation change is the big factor here, and the low grip nature of the circuit and very mild conditions. We're still just hovering just under 50 degrees ambient temperature here this morning. Beautiful day, but certainly for these cars and drivers, trying to get some temperature here in the early going is kind of the theme of the weekend.
No question about it. 12 turns, like you said, 2.5 miles, 160 feet of elevation change. That's about 15 stories from the highest point of the track to the lowest as the cars roll out for the first of 2 formation laps. Haven't gotten yet to the story in TCA. Devin Anderson got the win. Spencer Bucknam was second. Xiaoyi Che, the second tech sport car in TCA, was third. Career best finish for the Chinese driver, and now he'll have his career best start because he starts from pole position.
Yeah, and that's a lot of pressure, so be curious to see how they deal with that. And but it's a very competitive grid, so much fun, so many opportunities. I mean, all of the champions from last year have not returned, so it opens up the door for some new winners and new champions in this 2023 season.
Here's the starting grid. Kyle Lowe, Lucas Catania, so often a runner-up. He'll start second today, looking for that first win. Colin Garrett won yesterday, starts third. Adam Gleason, his debut season, starts fourth. Kenny Schmid and Joseph Catania wrapping up the TCX field. Jeff Rica on the TC pole with Clay Williams alongside in the Mini. Then you get to Michael Hertzen back in the championship after some time away. He'll have Christian Pericarpi in the second Mini in the TC class next to him starting fourth. Celso Neto starts fifth in TC. Sally McNulty, new to the TC class this year. She's in a Gen Racer Hyundai. And at the back, DRS racing driver Chris Valdez starts in 15th overall. Xiaoyi Che, as mentioned on the TCA pole, teammate Devin Anderson will start next to him in that Subaru BRZ. Then you get to the second row where you find Spencer Bucknam, third-generation driver, alongside P.J. Gronke, the Canadian, in the first of the TCA Minis. Mario Biundo, owner and driver for LA Honda World. He'll have William Lambros next to him. Then in the next row, Ruben Iglesias Jr. set to roll off from the 7th position in TCA. Cooper Brohl will start in 8th. Alain Lozier, the Canadian, in another Mini, starts behind them in the 5th row. So that will be the 9th starting position with Landon Lewis starting 10th. And Christopher DeFreitas starts at the tail end of the field. Great mix of cars as ever in the touring car ranks. Different platforms with front-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive in the TCX class. That makes things interesting. That's true in TCA as well. And that that amalgamation, shall we say, of different types of machines is what makes touring car racing so fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, it's a curious mix, right? It's a real melting pot of machinery, so it's a lot of fun to watch and see where the pros and cons of the performance lay out on a circuit such as Sonoma Raceway. But there's always a good fight somewhere. It's a great start to the season yesterday. We saw some great battles in all three of the classes, actually, so hopefully we'll see more of that here today.
This is the new TCX spec Honda Civic. It is effectively a detuned TCR Honda Civic, missing some of the aero and some other tweaks made to try and balance it with the BMW M2 that has been the bulk, in fact the entirety of the TCX field until this year. This car will run, that Civic, for one season and one season only. Some very exciting news out of Honda and Acura. A new Integra model is coming starting next year. More on that in a little moment, but first let's go down and hear from Amanda.
Down here on pit lane with Daiya Shahara. He knew he was going to lead this field to green here today. It's been a great weekend for you, but you said you wish you were out there. But being with the series this season, coming to Sonoma for your first time, just a recap of the weekend for yourself.
Well, first of all, I want to thank all my sponsors, Ineos Oil, ARP, and Pit and Paddock, supporting all the whole season of my program. So I'm just super happy to be here. This is my first time on my event. And I was landing the track, and I was able to get the pole position, and I got the fastest lap yesterday's race, but unfortunately, internal parts on the transmission went out, and we couldn't find a spare. The Victor Gonzalez team worked really hard to find the parts last night until this morning, but there's no luck, so I gotta sit here today. But, you know, this is still the beginning, right? So I'm super excited for the season, and we're gonna come back stronger next one.
We look forward to seeing you at NOLA.
Thank you.
So cool to have him here, a legend in the drifting community. Had the fastest EV time up Pikes Peak last year. Big personality, big social media following. Just a great addition to the championship.
Be quite the transition from a drifting rear-wheel drive car to these front-wheel drive machines.
I should think so. I'd be really curious to chat with him as the season progresses about that transition. Toyota GR Supra safety car peels off into the pit lane, and that leaves the field under the control of the rookie, Kyle Lowe, making just his second series start, and he's got Lucas Catania to his outside in that BMW from Rigid Speed. Then Colin Garrett, the winner yesterday, runner-up in the championship a year ago. Adam Gleason starts in fourth, and the green flag waves for race 2 of the weekend at Sonoma Raceway for TC America, powered by the Skip Barber Racing School.
Great start there by Lowe, then he gets in the middle of the road, doesn't find the grip, scrambling there a little bit. Catania's going to carve this corner a little bit better. Can he do anything with it?
There's the green flag in TC. Jeff Rica from the pole, able to sprint ahead of the two minis. Side by side in the battle for third, that's Michael Hertzen to the inside of Christian Pericarpi. Pericarpi looks poised to grab that position. Then in TCA, a couple of tech sport cars on the front row. Che has the lead. Anderson runs second, coming under pressure around the outside from Spencer Bucknam, who was a runner-up yesterday, and it's 3 wide further back in the pack at the top of the hill.
Great move there by Bucknam, just keeps it together. Devin Anderson now gets back to the inside. This is going to get dicey up and over the hill.
Bucknam so aggressive, working the outside. He's going to pinch Anderson down as much as he can. Anderson, though, able to roll a decent amount of speed through that corner. They're still side by side, and some cars are off. That looks like Sally McNulty hard into the tire barriers. Disappointing way for her second race in the TC class to come to an end.
Yeah, looks like some contact there. I think it was with Valdez potentially there coming into the carousel.
For now, we stay green, but that has the makings of a safety car written all over it. Drivers scrambling for positions
Bucknam
before
to the
it.
inside. He's going to force the issue. A bit of debris there.
Bucknam grabs the top spot. Looks like Anderson's able to follow him through. So Bucknam, Anderson, Che now the order in the TCA class.
Is that debris off the Valdez car potentially, or whichever car got into McNulty?
Yes.
Wait and see, but certainly for Shea, got pushed out wide there a little bit. Bucknam, very forceful, legit move. Then Shea ran over that debris up front. Lowe continues to lead, healthy lead over Catania.
Lowe, Catania, and then Running in third, Kenny Schmid. Didn't call his name too often yesterday, but a good start here to jump up into podium contention. Osawi has been able to pull away, but dragging a lot of body work. See if she tries to tuck that into a safe area, or if she elects to limp that back around to the Gin Racer crew. That car is used up on both ends, though.
So she really needs to turn right. Let's take another look at it. They're in a first little battle there, trying to duke out who's going to get the position on the entry at the corner, and just got together relatively early.
And she did find the drag strip effectively to pull that car into, that's a safe spot out of the way, and that allows us to stay green flag racing. Credit to her for some heads-up driving there. Now we look in at the battle for third, and yesterday's winner, Colin Garrett, did not get a good start, Calvin. He's qualified third, but has slipped back to fourth and has some work to do if he's going to repeat the feat that he showed yesterday, picking up the win.
Yeah, and last year's championship was really a battle between he and Jacob Ruud. Came down to just a 2-point margin at the end of the season, with Garrett on the back side of that. But he won yesterday, but it wasn't in dominant fashion. I really felt his car really wasn't delivering what he was looking for, and we're seeing a similar sense of that here today. You got Catania there in a similar BMW running up there in P2, and Schmid has now split Catania and Garrett as well.
Kyle Lowe, who leads this race, he finished third yesterday in his debut in the championship to score a podium. Impressive stuff. Graduate of the HPD Driver Academy 1 year ago.
There's Valdez damaged in the front end there, you can see on the right front corner.
TJ Gronke very much keeping the top three in TCA honest as well. This is Will Lambros there. Got a good close look of working inside the cockpit. A little bit further down the order. But great battles everywhere in TC America. That's always the case, it seems. These cars race together so well, despite the fact they are very different platforms. Credit to the SRO Balance of Performance system for making that possible.
Here's Gronke. This is battle for P3 there in the blue mini, putting the pressure on Shea. Up front, 73 car of Kyle Lowe. Really healthy margin right now over Catania. He is hooked up. Gap now is about 2 seconds early in this race.
Special for him, a native of this part of the world, from San Jose, right here in the San Francisco Bay Area.
LA Honda World Team, busy group. Got lots of entries here this weekend, running in the GR Cup, which debuted its season here yesterday.
Now to the leader in TC, Jeff Rica. Dominant in his win yesterday, and again, we mentioned it, he had the fastest lap of the race, which sets the grid for race 2 by 1.4 seconds. He said that the car was on rails in his victory interview, and I'd say that is pretty accurate based on the pace we saw. And now we drop back and find Spencer Bucknam bicycling it through turn 7. That was way up on 2 wheels there, Spencer.
Yeah. On a show for the viewers here. Let's take another look at that as he just clips that inside curb.
That is awesome. Not sure it's the fast way around, but it was spectacular. Does look like Anderson.
He's closing
in, yeah. Back to the overall leader, Kyle Lowe. TCX Civic, which, as we mentioned, the successor is already in the works. If you happen to be heading to the Long Beach Grand Prix in a couple of weeks, you'll be able to see the car that the race car will be derived from. It won't be fully kitted out just yet, but TC America class manager Jim Jordan really excited about adding some competition in the TCX field alongside BMW, which has been the stalwart brand since the series debuted here 2 years ago. They've been working hard to get some extra manufacturers involved, and Acura taking a bite, and in so many ways, Calvin, it's a throwback to the old days of touring car racing and what was then World Challenge, and BMW up against Acura. Those are some of the classic battles over the years.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see that new platform come into the championship. We won't see it until next year, but nonetheless, it's a bright future ahead for the TC America classes.
was some thought about with the addition of the GR Cup, which is a similar platform in some respects, what would that do to the TC field? And quite frankly, we show up and the field looks great. Great mix of cars, some new faces, some of the stalwarts are back. Strong team, strong drivers. Safe to say touring car racing is in rude health in North America right now. Look in at this battle, Kenny Schmid and Colin Garrett fighting for third and fourth. Just behind is Adam Gleason, who, if you tried, you couldn't wipe the smile off his face here this weekend. This is a lifelong dream for him to go racing. Grew up in Indianapolis, and anyone who grows up there inevitably gets the racing bug. This is the final car through the shot just behind these two. Adam Gleason grew up loving racing. In fact, when he was trying to decide what he wanted to do after high school, he knew a friend, and his friend's dad had a great garage full of cars, and he asked his friend's dad, hey, what do you do? Well, I'm a radiologist. So, all right, good enough for me, I'm going to radiology school. Didn't end up becoming a radiologist, but I thought that was a fantastic story when he passed that along.
Seems pretty simple, right?
Right.
How do I get plenty of cars, nice cars like that? We'll just be a radiologist, all right? Good
battle here. Mario Biundo fighting with the 64 Alain Lozier, who we saw at Sebring last year for the LAP Motorsports team, mini JCW team. He is running that orange car, which he is famous for racing an orange Mini up in Canada. Alain, a veteran of touring car racing north of the border.
Well, Mario yesterday's got his family here, his two sons, Enzo and Valentino, so they're all very excited about this year's programs.
Yeah, very much so, and they're busy, as you chronicled earlier. Alain, admittedly, by his own admission, was drinking from a fire hose at Sebring last year. Had never been there before, never quite got the car totally comfortable, but he's looked stout this weekend. The pace has been good. Here we go, third, fourth, and fifth in TCX.
Gleason's car, by the way, is the same car that Jacob Ruud was driving last year to the championship win. So that team, Fast Track Racing, great history at this form of motorsports, and they do it right. I mean, they also basically the customer racing program for BMWs. I think they've sold now nearly 120 cars over the years, so in 5 years. So tons of wins. They got 20 pro wins, that team, over 100 in club racing activities as well. So top-notch organization.
If you're saying, well, the name doesn't sound super familiar, this is the same team that for many years was classic BMW. It's now owned by the Sewell Group. The team was always Fast Track Racing, but the name has changed and the heritage is there. This is TCA, and a change in the lead as Devin Anderson not only tracked down Spencer Bucknam, but he made the pass.
Yeah, I'd say he smoked by him, but that's literally because it seemed like there's some smoke emanating from the tail end of that BRZ. I'm not sure if that's a concern for the team right now or not.
You're right, I see that too. It's out of maybe the left side exhaust.
Made that move. There's a long way to go in this race, so I'll be fingers crossed, I think, for this group, if that is a real issue that we're seeing miles away.
Well, that was the thing that plagued that team at times last year. Looking for some more consistency with the equipment in year two with it. In the meantime, let's go back down to Amanda. We're watching Adam Gleason run a little bit wide in the chicane, Amanda.
Well, Ryan, I overheard your talk on Adam. I know you sat with him for a while as well. And, you know, as reporters and you guys, we come into the weekend with spaces in our notes to take notes. And I ran out of room talking to Adam. This is a big shared journey with him and his wife, Mandy. Actually, in front of Mandy, Adam asked us to refer to him as the heartthrob of TCX, which I thought really funny, but you think about the characters that are in this field. But one of the things that I thought was super special about Adam's journey into TCX, he's actually gotten onto iRacing on most of the tracks in this series alongside Jacob Ruud, who is helping him get up to speed. And you think of a back-to-back champion helping Adam come into this field, what a resource to have on his side.
No question about it. And the way he found a team to run for was interesting. It was during the pandemic when things were shut down. he started watching any races he could find on the internet and focused in on the Touring Car Championship here in SRO America because it looked like it was accessible. And he started paying attention to the teams that were running well, and he started cold calling them based on what he saw on our YouTube channel. And
it's a bit like his thoughts about occupation, right? It seems
right.
simple, right? Who's winning? Let me give them a call.
Credit to him. He finds unique solutions. But it did take a nudge from team manager Toby Grahovic to get into a race seat. They had done some testing, a lot of track days. Adam didn't feel like he was ready. Toby said, nope, you definitely are ready. And he went and got him a racing license without Adam even knowing about it. And that was the final nudge he needed. And he's all in.
Very cool. So Devin Anderson has got that lead. Trying to go sweep the weekend, and it would be 3 on the trot because he won the final race of the 2022 season at Indy last year as well.
Right.
So comes in as the championship favorite, I would say, with his teammate Gresham Wagner was the champion last year. I think he's wanting to put things straight. I think he got tired of finishing behind Gresham and being in his shadow a little bit last year. I don't see that smoke as bad now, so this could be good or bad news.
Interesting that since Devin got by, Spencer has settled into a nice rhythm, and Devin has not disappeared by any stretch of the imagination.
Garrett's not giving up on this, but certainly compared to how potent we saw that car last year. Having said that, they didn't have a great start to the campaign here at Sonoma. He came out of the opening weekend of the championship 32 points behind Jacob Ruud, and there was only 2 points at the end of the season, so that really set the stage for potentially how the championship ended up.
It's very true. Colin was on the back foot the rest of the season, trying to claw his way back in and just couldn't quite get there. Jacob Ruud with a year of experience.
That was a slide.
And we could see Jacob again this year. That certainly sounds like the plan. When he was racing last season, the last 2 seasons, he was also in the process of going to school and studying to get into the world of cybersecurity. And we are here at Sonoma Raceway this weekend, protected by CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike, a major player in the cybersecurity world. George Kurtz, the CEO, races here, and when he found out that Jacob was interested in a career in that, well, he snapped up some talent. He saw it, and that's now what Jacob is focusing on, but he does hope to return to the cockpit before the end of this 2023 season.
I was thinking now Gleason will be doing that as well. What do you do for a living?
Right. He had that off, did Gleason, just a moment ago, so he's lost touch with this group here. It does look like, though, that we're seeing Schmid and Garrett collectively make some inroads. They're catching Lucas Catania. These 3 BMWs running together. And we saw this yesterday. The pace of the Honda, the outright pace might have been a little bit stronger, but it's a front-wheel drive platform compared to the rear-wheel drive of these BMWs. And in that front-wheel drive car, you're asking those front tires to accelerate, to do a lot of the braking, and to do the steering. That puts a lot of stress in those tires, and the thought is that that pace should equalize or swing back the other way over the course of a 40-minute race.
Yeah, for sure. For Catania, he's got to be sick and tired of being in P2. He finished runner-up 6 times last year. Opened up his campaign here yesterday with another runner-up finish. I can relate to that. In 1982, I finished second 15 times.
Yes.
In one season.
But who did you finish second to as we see them run through some debris? Didn't look like that caused any problems.
Some young Brazilian, I can't remember his name.
Ayrton something.
Yeah, something like that.
Might have heard of him. I'm sure that got a little bit easier to stomach when you went to see what he went on to do.
Yeah, not really.
No?
It still hurt at the time.
Ooh, lock up there from Jeff Rica, who has a solid lead over Clay Williams, 5 seconds. The car you saw in the backdrop was the TCX spec car of Joseph Catania, father of Lucas. Cool to see father and son sharing the hobby. It is a generational sport, it seems like. You talk about those two, and certainly it's true when you talk about someone like Spencer Bucknam, who's from that famous lineage, grandfather Ronnie and father Jeff. just about everyone you talk to, there's some connection somewhere. That tends to be the case.
I think for Bucknam, he started the year last year with 3 consecutive third-place finishes. Runner-up here yesterday, and good points on the board. I think the key is just to keep that momentum rolling through the whole season. But he's keeping Devin Anderson honest here. He seems a little bit closer right now, so...
Agreed.
Anderson's not having it all his own way.
Nope. And they're going to potentially have some traffic to deal with there. It looks like they're closing in on Landon Lewis, who's making his debut
Bucknam's
this weekend.
got a big run through there. He's ever closer, and he pushes down to the inside, making a move for the lead. Can he make it stick? Can he make the corner? No, he can't. Straight through. That's going to be a tough one for the stewards to decide. It looked like he had the track position, but I think he's going to give it up and regroup here, reset. And that's important. If he certainly feels that he took advantage there, don't wait for 3 or 4 laps to get the call. Gives him a bit more time to go back on the attack.
Devin played that beautifully. He saw how that was shaping up. He bailed in that braking zone nice and early to make sure he could make the corner and get back on the power to take that position right back.
He actually gave up a bit too much speed. Has he got a problem, or is he just weaving around trying to clean the tires
Spencer?
up a little bit? Yeah.
It's a good question.
He's dived towards the pit lane, regrouping here a little bit. So he certainly eased off the power to let Devin get back by, but I think he's let that gap really get a bit bigger than it needed to be.
Behind these two, the fight is for 3rd and 4th. We'll talk about that in a moment. Here we go, another look at it.
Dirty side of the racetrack, don't have the grip, acute angle. And right here he's thinking, yeah, I probably took advantage of the situation, need to give it up. Right now.
Honestly, if they didn't catch Lambros in that spot and he could have entered midway through the track instead of all the way to the inside, something might have been on there, but that's the way that traffic can affect a race. Schmid and Garrett. No let up between these two, and Kenny Schmid has a very experienced racer behind him and has not cracked under the pressure.
Garrett's got a bit of a run here. Schmid is a bit out of kilter here on the approach here. Can Garrett make it stick around the outside? That is a brave move, and he has done it.
Wow.
Nicely done.
Opportunistic, saw the twitch, let it roll around the outside, and made it work.
That was sweet.
It was. So back into podium contention for Colin Garrett. Now he's got some work to do, about 1.5 seconds to get up to Lucas Catania to try and take away 2nd place. Kyle Lowe has sprinted away, by the way. It's a 7.3 second lead for Kyle in the Honda.
This one develops, so he set up nicely on the exit of 2, puts it to the outside, found the grip. Right there, there's nothing that Schmid can do about it.
Great job by the stock car racer turned touring car ace, running in GT4 America this year too, is Colin Garrett. Now we look in at 5th and 6th. It's Lambros and Biundo. Running 5th and 6th in TCA, just behind PJ Gronke and Xiaoyi Che, who have a good battle going themselves for 3rd in the TCA class. And back to the overall leaders, who are going to have traffic to deal with here before too much longer.
Schmid is not letting Garrett escape. Catania seems like he's increased the gap between 2nd and 3rd right now.
There is Lowe, who continues to lead overall, and Amanda has more from the pits.
Yeah, just a couple updates down here on pit lane. I'm over by the LA Honda World team, and they were talking with Kyle Lowe on just making sure that he's preserving those tires for the end. They do feel that the BMW has better preservation for tires when it comes to the late stage of racing, but very happy with Kyle and his performance today, and also getting him prepared for when they do reach traffic and being able to manage that as well. When it comes to Spencer Bucknam, they keep feeling like this guy is knocking on the door of a first win, battling in that TCA class. Does feel like they might have something for the end. And you guys were touching on Colin Garrett a little bit. You'll remember yesterday we saw him running down pit lane after the GT4 to get ready for this race. Well, it'll be switched here today, as Colin will have to run to get ready for the Pirelli GT4 race right after this one.
Busy weekend for him, that's for sure. Thanks, Amanda. And pulling double duty isn't always easy if the schedule doesn't line up just right.
I think for Lowe, in terms of balance of performance, getting this Honda to fit into the TCX class, some of the downforce was taken away from that car. So as we get a little bit deeper into the green flag run with a front-wheel drive car, we'll have to wait and see if that causes any tire degradation on the front end of that Honda. So the BMWs are trying to keep as close as they can, and the gap has come down. I think it was up over 7 seconds at one point. It's down to about 5.5 seconds between our leader we're looking at and Lucas Catania.
Swap in position there as the 07 of Mario Biondo has passed the car of William Lambros. So that's LA Honda World around the Skip Barber Racing School team. I think this is this 5th and 6th in the TCA class. Lots of traffic here for Colin Garrett to deal with. He's going to try and go around the outside of the Skip Barber Honda. The second car through is Schmid, and I think that might have caught the Honda just a bit off guard. Now at the inside of Lozier. So Cooper.
Nicely done there by Garrett. You really have to just feel those situations. You can't overcommit. You just, oh, there's a touch. There was a touch there, and Schmid is around.
Lozier as well. That allows Cooper Broll through. They were fighting for 7th and 8th in TCA.
It's going to help out Gary.
Yes.
Just focus forward now.
Big time. Let's take a look at it here. What do you think?
Garrett's throwing us right at that critical point. They tried to, we saw Garrett and Schmid go side by side a couple of laps ago, and I don't think that Schmid really gave the Mini enough room, just made it too tight. Mini had nowhere to go. He's basically up on the inside apex anyway.
Yeah, it looked like that to me too. Great news, as you say, for Colin Garrett, who now can focus on chasing Catania. By the way, it's now just a 3.3 second lead for Lowe over Catania, about equal distant back to Colin Garrett. So this is shaping up to be an interesting finish here in the final 15 minutes.
Yeah, there's a good chunk of this race left here for Catania and the BMWs to go chase after that Honda out front. There you can see the gap.
Here is Catania. So close to a win on so many occasions. Could this be the day? Colin Garrett won yesterday. Hasn't had a straightforward race too. Finally prevailed in a battle with Kenny Schmid to get up into podium contention. Let's check the gaps again. It's down to 3 seconds Lowe over Catania. Gleason, by the way, also benefited from that coming together between Schmid and Lozier because he gained a spot in TCX. He now runs in 4th. And here we go. TCA continues to be a great battle at the very front of that class with Devin Anderson, who took the lead from Spencer Bucknam, but has not been able to escape Spencer's sights since. Spencer right there lurking.
Yeah, and Spencer has Ryan Eversley on site here this weekend coaching the whole LA Honda World group. So great to have Ryan here. Real character, of course, but just so much knowledge to transfer over to Spencer Bucknam when he's behind the wheel in this situation, just keeping him focused, I'm sure.
Subaru up against Honda.
They're just sliding a little bit there, coming off the corner with that BRZ. He's got things relatively under control, but Spencer wants to keep it tight, so if they do encounter traffic, he may be able to pounce and take advantage. It's a good little battle continuing for that final podium spot. Shea still has it in the 23 BRZ. Gronke right behind there, just shadowing now for the majority of this race.
Stickers all over that PJ Gronke car as ever. So many sponsors that he cobbles together. Catania, it's a moment of indecision on both sides. Biondo too, not quite sure what Catania was going to do.
Right. just missed his marks a little bit and had roped up his hands. Otherwise, he'd be spinning the race car. So these two stack up where the BRZ has an advantage versus the Mini. Sometimes you really see a concertina effect of the gap just from the gear ratios between the two manufacturers in terms of being in the sweet spot and the torque curve of one particular car versus the other.
Here comes the Mini. Can be pretty strong in a straight line, and in this drag race around the outside of the Subaru, PJ Gronke.
Watch this. Watch, he's trying to do the overrun here now. Takes it around the outside. Try and get his hands straight and get on the power sooner here coming off of turn 7.
PJ won the TCB championship several years ago, and since then has transferred up to TCA when TCB went away.
Love the way he goes about his racing.
Yeah.
You can see the side of that car just plastered with sponsors, but he'll take a little bit, just any kind of support he's willing to represent his partners well. It's a great little program.
It certainly is. Now the overall leader going through that battle, does that open the door for Gronke to follow low through? I think it might.
It does.
That's a veteran move to use that to his advantage. Gets to the inside of Xiaoyi Che, but Xiaoyi fights back on the outside and puts the power down nicely out of 11.
Yeah, Gronke's a super clean driver, so he didn't want to just use him up there on the exit, so good respect there.
Just over 11 minutes left. Final step on the podium in TCA, up for grabs. Xiaoyi Che from China, second-year driver against touring car veteran PJ Gronke. Looks left, comes back to the right-hand side. Oh, not close enough to get alongside though.
It's really, it's like a game of chess here in terms of being one move ahead. Great stuff, really great racecraft there by PJ Gronke, just trying to use a slightly different line and gain an advantage in the critical part of the racetrack. He's up for the challenge.
Yes, he's had a great weekend.
Yeah.
Podium yesterday, pole today. Trying to hang on for a second podium to start the season. Again, a great run.
Oh, and he's left the door open on the inside this time.
PJ not close enough to take the lunge though.
BRZ is good on the brakes.
That's what's fun about this though. The different cars have strengths in different parts of the track, weaknesses in others, and trying to maximize your strengths against the weakness of your opponent. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, what a fun part of the racetrack that is, flying through those S's. You're a slalom skier there, just trying to tip the gates, click the apexes coming through there.
Oh, this is Schmid on the comeback drive after the contact with Lozier. Is caught back up with Adam Gleason. Welcome to pro racing, Adam. Oh, but that said, could this be a drive-through penalty? Yes, I think that is what it is. Stop and hold plus 60 issued to the 14 car of Kenny Schmid. So that incident was reviewed. Contact with the Mini. And the blame has been laid by the stewards on the AOA racing driver.
Yeah, that's going to be the best part of a lap. Lose 40-odd seconds just coming down pit lane, plus hold for 60 seconds. So that's a big penalty, and this is how it occurred. Up here through turn 3, just pinched him a little bit. Okay, it ruined your day, but you also ruined 64.
Day.
Yeah,
and he's out for what it's worth.
I think that factors in a lot to the stewards' decisions as well.
Sure. Kyle Lowe, remember when we were concerned about his lead? Well, you could put that to bed.
Yeah.
8.3 seconds now, the gap over Catania, who is pretty comfortable himself over Colin Garrett. I thought Colin might be able to make a run at Lucas, but not so much. 4.3 seconds is the difference between this car here of Catania and Colin Garrett. And Adam Gleason, who looked like he might be coming under some pressure, instead now finds himself comfortably running in the 4th position in TCX and overall.
had an office pool in terms of who's going to finish second, you'd probably lock down Catania, wouldn't you, on a regular basis?
Yeah, I think so. Let's go pit side once more and Amanda Busick.
I heard you guys talking about PJ Gronk, and I talked to Louis Pericarpi about this mini team collectively heading into this season, and it's kind of a new year for a lot of new talent with the team, but said PJ, just in his second year, is his veteran of the team. When comparing the BRZ to the mini format, Louis feels that if they can get ahead in a corner, that maybe they can outbrake the Subaru, but just feels like the Subaru has the straight line speed here this weekend.
That's interesting. Usually that's what we say about the mini, but you know, the balance of performance does change weekend to weekend, and those are some of the things that get adjusted to try and equalize the cars. And I'd say, job well done. Look how close these two, despite being visibly very different platforms, still running nip and tuck with one another.
Yeah, and I wonder if that sort of idea of how they stack up against each other is from last year and this year. It seemed to me like the mini has decent straightaway speed in terms of the couple of spots on the track, and yet the BRZ is strong in the braking zone, so it seems like maybe that's been equalized a little bit.
Up in the TC class, Clay Williams in that mini runs in the second spot. This is a busy team. They're running a couple of cars in TC, a couple of cars in TCA. They're preparing for the Sonora Rally in a couple of weeks. A couple of cars getting ready for that. And Louis, the team owner, is going to be driving one of them.
Williams, he finished second in the championship last year, had 4 wins. Kevin Boehm obviously dominated things there with 10 wins on his way to a second championship. But Williams second yesterday, but Jeff Rick is a little bit in a league of his own this weekend with the Hyundai.
That's right, and it's a new car, that Hyundai. It's in the TC specification, the Elantra specifically. The car that Jeff raced last year is the car that Sally McNulty is racing this season, and unfortunately had that incident. I think we're seeing bits of it right there, actually, in that shot from the very start of the race.
Battle for third right there. We're looking at with Hertzen holding down that spot. Pericarpi giving chase here in the 37 Mini.
It's his first weekend racing in the TC class. Young Christian Pericarpi, son of the team owner. A good mechanic in his own right. Might have had a career wrenching for race teams, but wanted to be a racing driver. Who can blame him? And he's been quick. Broke onto the scene at Sebring a couple of years ago and instantly was on the pace despite having no experience off of the simulator. Sometimes you just have a knack for it.
Here just trying to read the traffic. Is he going to open up his inside lane here? He does. There was a big delta in terms of that little exchange here, and the gap between Hertzen and Pericarpi looked like pretty even as they came off the corner as they went into it.
Big lunge there. Different classes trying to mix together with varied results. Somehow they did sort it out. Under 5 minutes to go.
Time is winding down here, but this battle is heating up. Hertzen, a lot of experience now, bringing it to the touring car table. The TCR champion a few years ago. Look at this battle going on here. Gronky looks to the outside of Shea.
Cut and paste. We've seen this a few times before. PJ can get alongside, but the Subaru very good on the brakes, and it can carve through that tight corner really well.
Maybe he can surprise him and suddenly flick it down to the inside on the approach to turn 7 next before the end of this race. But
looked like he had a shot to do that a few laps ago and just couldn't quite get there or wasn't comfortable enough to totally commit to it.
Yeah, that's what surprises me, because that BRZ does seem strong or equal to the Mini in the brake zone.
Picking up a little dust there. PJ Gronky.
He's got a good run here. Big run.
Traffic coming through, though. This is Gleason, who is very new to this, and he was telling me dealing with the traffic is something I'm still not totally comfortable with. I don't want to be the idiot who takes out another car in my first weekend, and you got to give him credit for that, but yeah, I was maybe a little on the indecisive side. Fight further back. Mario Biundo and William Lambros. We've seen these two linked together throughout the course of this race.
Yeah, it's been a fun battle.
It has. Didn't take long for PJ to get back, did it? Oh, look at this. He's got to run.
Is he going to hang it around the outside? Shea chases in there. It's going to be tight. Nice move. They've got a coexist coming off the corner. We've seen sometimes that works, sometimes not. And PJ has the position. Needs to tidy up through here. Don't overcommit on the corner there. Nice job.
Really clean racing between these two. A lot of respect shown. And the final step of the podium in TCA has changed hands. Put PJ Gronke up to third.
Now if he can hit his marks, can he gap him? Gets a little bit wide there. Try to get aggressive with the power delivery coming through the carousel. Lost the front end a little bit.
Yep. Xiao Yi has been good on the brakes though. Looks up the inside and PJ left the door open. Xiao Yi comes through. PJ, will he try and cross him over? Nope, tries to go the long way around, and we're right back where we started. Great job by Xiao Yi Che to fight back and grab third place right back.
Yeah, and that's why I questioned the fact that they felt the Mini was better into the brake zones than the Subaru, because certainly so far in this race, in this battle, Che seems to be very strong in that brake zones. But now Gronke there looks to the inside, feels he's not close enough, so I don't think he's feeling the confidence in the brake zones that Che is. Wow, he just needed to close the door there, and he could have been on his way. In turn 7, just as you say, left the door open a little bit, and Che took advantage.
90 seconds to go. White flag is waving at start finish, so the overall leader has come through to take that white flag. 1 lap to go in race 2 of the weekend at Sonoma Raceway. Xiao Yi Che, PJ Gronke, they have been dueling for the better part of 40 minutes. They've got 1 more lap to settle this for the last step of the TCA podium.
And the gap's a little bit bigger than it has been, so it's going to take a mistake or a slip by Che here, I think. Gronke really working the wheel there, trying to close that gap down. But up front, this man has had a great day.
That he has. A podium on debut yesterday, inherited pole position today due to some misfortune for Dai Yoshihara, but clearly he's had the pace. For a little while, the gap had come down. It was about 3 seconds over Lucas Catania for a time, but since then, Kyle Lowe has put the pedal down, and he leads by nearly 13 seconds on this final tour of Sonoma.
Wow, just when we thought maybe tire degradation would be a factor on this car, he's just skipped away. An amazing run, totally dominant.
Chicane for the final time, now down to turn 11. A dream debut weekend in TC America, powered by the Skip Barber Racing School for Kyle Lowe. And doing it on home soil, the native of Northern California weaves the car back and forth to the adulation of his crew. Kyle Lowe is a race winner in TC America, powered by the Skip Barber Racing School.
Managed that perfectly as well, looking at the clock.
Yeah.
2 seconds further down the road, there'd be another lap.
Good point. So Lowe takes the checkers.
Oh.
Here we go. Anderson dealing with some traffic coming across the line, and does take the win in TCA. Bucknam will take home the 2nd position. Colin Garrett has secured 3rd place in TCX. And now in TC for the 2nd straight day, the new Hyundai Elantra in TC is dominant. Jeff Rica, Gin Racer, through the final corner for the final time, and Jeff Rica sweeps the weekend at Sonoma Raceway.
That's great to see. Had a ton of podiums last year, but for that team, that's a big result for them, sweeping the weekend here with that new platform.
Xiao Yi Che did hold off PJ Gronke, the margin just half a second at the end of this race. Mario Biundo came out ahead of William Lambros in a duel that lasted the better part of this race for 5th and 6th. But here it is, Kyle Lowe, the race winner in race 2 for TC America. Always exciting to hear from a first-time winner, and Kyle Lowe showing once again that HPD Academy produces some stout racing drivers.
Yeah, it's a great program, and to have experts like Ryan Eversley, who's an HPD contracted driver, of course, on site when he's not competing, willing to assist these young drivers in learning their craft. It's really great opportunities.
This start to the season for Tech Sport. Devin Anderson 2 wins, Xiaoyi Che 2 podiums. Tech Sport Racing looks like they've come loaded for bear in the TCA class. No question who the dominant car in TC was.
And I think there'll be some adjustments coming their way. I mean, it's all about seeing how they stack up with a new platform, and I think Jeff Recker recognizes that. So might be a little bit tighter game when we get to the next round of the championship.
Race results from the second of 2 races this weekend. We'll start in the TCA class, where Devin Anderson led home Spencer Bucknam by 1.6 seconds. Those two thoroughly separated themselves from the rest of the field. Xiaoyi Che a distant third, but a great battle between the Chinese driver and the Canadian of PJ Gronke, Mario Biunda, Will Lambros, Ruben Iglesias. The top 7 in this race. Roll, Louis Lozier, the rest of the TCA field. Then in the TC class, Jeff Rica by 12 seconds here today. Leads home Clay Williams. A couple of podiums for Clay to start the 2023 campaign. Michael Hertzen in his return to the championship, a podium here in race 2. Celso Neto, strong if quiet run to 4th. Christian Pericarpi 5th in his debut weekend in the TC class. Chris Valdez finishes 6th. Sally McNulty, unfortunately, did not get to contest much of this race. Contact on the opening lap eliminated her from contention. And at the very front, TCX, the winner was Kyle Lowe, Lucas Catania, Colin Garrett, the podium. So a couple of podiums for Garrett to start 2023. There's the helmet coming off of Devin Anderson. He'll be celebrating this one. That's 3 wins on the trot for him. He won the season finale last year at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, carrying that momentum forward. And he was pretty clear about his intentions when we spoke to him post-race yesterday, that he was gunning for a title here in 2023. So the cars coming into the pit lane. Go through the final tech inspection, but that caps off, in terms of racing, a really memorable opening weekend of TC America. Down at the bottom of the screen just a second ago, we saw Colin Garrett sprinting from his race car to try to get to the GT4 America grid. In the meantime, though, let's head back down to the pit lane, victory circle, where we find Amanda Busick.
Ryan, as you were saying, there is nothing quite like a first-time win for a driver, but gosh, this one was in such dominant fashion. Kyle, what led to the victory here today?
Hey gosh, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into this race, man. Can't thank the LA Honda World Boys enough for this amazing car. We worked so hard on the setup and just so much development over the past year. And shout out to the HPD Academy for getting me ready for this sort of event. I got a little bit of time in the TCR at VIR last year, and it's my first time driving a front-wheel car in a race, and couldn't have gone any better.
Congratulations, Kyle.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful race weekend for Kyle Lowe, and he figures to be a force to be reckoned with over the course of this season. Big smile on his face, as you would expect. A couple of Tech Sport teammates there debriefing. Xiaoyi Che on the right, Devin Anderson on the left, and there's Amanda.
Well, Devin, you told me that we might be seeing you a lot here this season. You sweep the weekend in Sonoma. How much momentum will this give this team headed to New Orleans?
Oh, this is great for us. You know, obviously winning both races is the goal. It's a great way to start out the championship. We just got to keep moving forwards and hope we can keep up the pace and keep mainly Buckham behind us. I think he'll be my main championship contender this year. Just wanted to thank Tech Sport Racing for giving such an incredible car, Redline Oil, and K1 Race Gear.
And then just right behind the camera, there is a very proud mom recording that interview. Congratulations, guys.
It is a family operation there with Tech Sport, that's for sure. family operation. Here's highlights of our second race. Kyle Lowe inherited the pole after Daiyo Shihara's issues mechanically yesterday. Couldn't get his car repaired, but Kyle certainly deserved it as he went on to show in this race. Grabbed the lead right off the bat. This was a big incident early on. Valdez and McNulty coming together, and McNulty eliminated, Valdez eliminated from contention.
Bucknam, big move there down into turn 7, gets inside of Shea, and Devin Anderson takes the opportunity as well.
This was an attempt to take the lead back by Spencer Bucknam. Ultimately couldn't quite make it work. Anderson was able to slot back in front, and he went on to take the victory. Big moment here. 2 different classes overlapping with unfortunate results.
Yeah, Schmid there just kind of pinched the mini there, Lazier, and round he goes.
Kyle Lowe takes his first career win in TC America, powered by the Skip Barber Racing School, capping off a big weekend for the championship here at Sonoma.